Welcome back to First and 5, the show where we give you 5 things to look out for every NFL weekend. But going into week 16, there are plenty more talking points that we need to go through. We need to have a serious conversation about the Kansas City Chiefs. Am I hearing this right? They're not going to be in this year's playoff. After 10 straight AFC West divisional titles, this will be the first year as a starting quarterback that Patrick Mahomes will not be leading his team to the playoff.
Stop it. Get some help.
Because last week, we saw the Kansas City Chiefs get eliminated from postseason play after a 16-13 loss versus the LA Chargers. And now that KC sits at 6-8, this is a season that their fans probably want to forget very soon. And of course, we can't get over the brutal injury that Patrick Mahomes suffered in that game as well. But with an ACL tear, it's probable that we won't see Patrick Mahomes for at least 9 months, and they might even rest him for the whole 2026 season. And now with Gardner Minshew as their backup, I wouldn't bet on the Kansas City Chiefs winning out for the rest of the season. And who knows, maybe this is what the Chiefs need. Patrick Mahomes out for a bit so they can fully reset and maybe get a top draft pick. Now, the second thing that we have to talk about going into week 16 is Bo Nix. If you look at the MVP odds for this season, there are a few obvious names. LA Rams QB Matthew Stafford is the current favorite, with Patriots QB Drake May and Bills QB Josh Allen in the mix as well. But not far behind them is sophomore Denver Broncos QB Bo Nix. This year, Nix has already registered 23 passing TDs with 4 more on the ground and just 9 picks. And after 4 more TDs and 302 passing yards versus the Packers last week, he's proven to the league that he is for real. And many fans around the league are wondering, when are the Broncos going to tail off and prove that they are the frauds that we all believe them to be? But let's be honest for a second and call a spade a spade. Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos are 12-2. You don't just fall into 12-2, and if you actually look at Bo Nix's tape, he has been playing lights out.
That way, not open, trying to take off, got it away for the touchdown!
And with a final stretch that includes games versus the Jags, Chiefs, and Chargers, it will be very interesting to see how the Denver Broncos end their season. So you're telling me that John Cena is the trending name in wrestling and Phillip Rivers is throwing touchdowns in the NFL? Is this 2008? Now, we all know that nostalgia is a very strong medicine, and Phillip Rivers returning to the NFL last week was really pulling on the heartstrings. I'm not gonna lie, in last week's episode, I fully questioned why the Colts would bring back a 44-year-old QB, but what do I know?
Traitor. You are a traitor.
Because after seeing QBs Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson unavailable, the Indianapolis Colts had to turn to an old friend. And in his return, Phillip Rivers threw for 120 yards, 1 TD, and a pick. But that's why you don't let the box score tell you the full story. Because even though his stats didn't jump off the page, the 4th overall pick in the 2004 NFL Draft rolled back the years. Number 17 showed us quick and accurate throws, confidence in the pocket, and that old willingness to win games. And even though the Colts fell to the Seattle Seahawks 18-16, they are still 8-5. But it won't get easier for Rivers and the Colts, because to close out the season, they face the 49ers, Jags, and Texans on the road. So the real question with Phillip Rivers and the Colts is, will we see some magic in Indy this season? Personally, I hope so. Okay, fine. Let's talk about Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, because it is not looking good over there.
It's not looking good, man.
Now, let me dish out a bit of empathy for a second, because I feel so sorry for Cincinnati Bengals fans. Since I can remember, the Bengals have always been that team that were almost there. I mean, do you guys remember the years with Andy Dalton, Vontaze Burfict, and AJ Green? The Bengals had an elite roster in the 2010s, but they lost 6 wildcard games in 7 years. And what about that team of the late 80s? You had Boomer Esiason, Eddie Brown, Jim Skew, and Ickey Woods. But that team would still fall short in a Super Bowl versus a stacked 49ers team. And 2 years later, they would lose in the divisional round to the Raiders in Bo Jackson's final game. Way to have bad timing. And fast forward 40 years, the Bengals now have another elite offense that is still falling short. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson, these are elite players. I mean, this is a team that many people thought would at least secure a playoff berth this year. But with trade rumors now circling around Joe Burrow and an overall gloomy cloud over a Cincinnati team that is 4-10, things might have to get worse in Cincy before they get better. And the 5th thing that you need to look out for this NFL weekend is playoff clinching games. With 3 weeks of the season to go, playoff spots are rightly up for grabs. And there is a plethora of circumstances possible this weekend. Now, the New England Patriots get in by beating the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday night. The Jacksonville Jaguars will punch their ticket with a road win versus the Denver Broncos and an Indianapolis or Houston Texans loss. The LA Chargers can clinch by taking care of business in Dallas and hoping Houston and Indy loses as well. The Eagles can lock up the NFC East and book their playoff spot by just winning against the Washington Commanders on Sunday. The San Francisco 49ers are in the playoffs with a win versus Indianapolis. And the Seahawks can clinch the playoffs by beating the Rams as well. As for everyone else, the Bills, the Bears, and the Packers can also get in, but they need a lot of circumstances to go in their favor. But those have been 5 more things to look out for this NFL weekend. What are your thoughts though? Comment down below and let us know. And as always, if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the NFL UK and Ireland YouTube channel. I've been American TJ. Peace.